Welcome to the Green Podcast. My name is Dylan Welch. I'm the CEO of green.org and Dylan Welch Media. Our goal with this podcast is to bring you the biggest names and leaders in renewable energy, clean technology, and sustainability so that you can stay up to date with the latest trends and everything that is happening in this world. Not only that, you'll get some action items for your life so that you can apply some amazing things and make your world a better place as well. Let's get the show started. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Green Podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Welch, and today we have a really interesting guest. I don't think we've interviewed anyone quite like this before. We've got Scott Elliff, the owner and founder of DuCard Vineyards, here today to talk about what it's like to make wine, run a business. Also want to thank Scott. Scott donated some amazing bottles of wine to our last Green Summit in New York City. They were a huge hit, so excited to talk to the man himself. Scott, thanks so much for joining us today. How's it going?
That's me. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Yeah. So we've been kind of going back and forth for a while. Appreciate you sending out those bottles. Like I said, everyone really enjoyed that. Who doesn't love some wine, right? So kind of a cool life you've got there. So tell us a little bit about you and how you got into the wine business.
Yeah, well, you found us really because you were looking for something that was sort of complementary green. And I think what you found somehow or another, the magic of Google or whatever, that we're the greenest winery in Virginia. So I'm a farmer for this. You grow the grapes and then a manufacturer to make the wine. And then there's a retail and customer service and marketing and everything to sell the wine and host people and everything. And so I started at 20-some years ago by planting some grapes on my country house property. Didn't really know anything, but we've got a beautiful rural site. It borders the Shenandoah National Park. It's just right for doing this. And so I committed to do everything as green as I possibly could to be a good steward of the land, et cetera. And so I've adopted a lot of practices that, at least for our industry, are fairly leading edge. And a group or two has deemed us the greenest winery in Virginia, and so we publicized that a little bit. And link, you guys found it, and the rest is history to date.
There we go. I love that. That's what it's all about. You know, we kind of talked about this a lot on the podcast, but one, building a business, something we're passionate about. And if that business can be sustainable or you take some steps to be more sustainable, even better. And then honestly, you get to, all the wine in the world, right? That's not a bad little perk on top of that. So
there you go. That's right.
I respect that a lot. And you said you basically just started growing some grapes yourself and it just slowly grew from there. Like, what was that process of, that first batch you made to where you are today?
Yeah, it was an old dead apple orchard that had been abandoned for probably 20 years or so. So it didn't look very nice. And I'm a suburban kid from Chicago, so I didn't even know who to talk to about what to do. And there's extension agents, basically, of the agriculture department in every county of the country that help people think about what to do agriculturally on their land and what kind of best practices and so forth. And he recommended grapes to me, and I thought it would be cool and fun. And frankly, how hard could it be? Turns out it's awfully hard to do, especially in Virginia. But it's been a lifetime learning for me. We grew the grapes in and started to make some wine, started to sell the grapes off to other people. They're the first ones who made wine with it. And ultimately they won some big awards for the wines that were made with our grapes. And you'd think that would be cool, but in fact, it's really only the raw material that's so important in it, the grapes. So we decided to do it ourselves. So we've had a winery part of it and a customer service part of it now for 12 years. And now we're winning awards for the wines that we make and sell on site. So it's been quite a progression and certainly not linear. Probably the poster child for kind of letting nature blow you through the wind and try to figure out where you end up landing. And so here I am.
That's amazing. I love that. And nothing's linear, right? Like you kind of take 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but sometimes that 1 step back is a learning lesson and, you take it and you pivot. And I mean, just from taking an old apple orchard to where you are today, that's a pretty incredible, accomplishment. So congratulations on that. What have been some milestones in your career with the vineyard that you kind of can look back on and be like, wow, I never thought we'd get there. And yet here we are today.
Well, we survived the pandemic, among other things. I would hate to have had a restaurant with no outdoor seating, and gone under.
I
But
think that was your
in
biggest
fact,
customer.
yeah, well, I mean, we were really popular because everybody wanted to get out of the city and get out in the country. And when they were talking about 6-foot spacing, I mean, it's a joke at our place. It's 106-foot spacing because we got big lawns on the outside. Just set up a whole bunch of tables when we were allowed to reopen, and everybody would come out and have a couple of pops, and get kind of a psychological benefit from it as well. We're still calling it a psychological and winological destination for people to escape from the real world. And increasingly, pandemic or not, I think that's a really important role and option and need for people, really.
Yeah, I mean, I just went to a wine tasting this past Saturday, or excuse me, on Wednesday, and there's just something about being, kind of out in that open space. It's very relaxing. You get to have, some wine, obviously, which is always
Yeah,
nice. So I can only imagine, especially during those times during the pandemic when people were desperate to get some fresh
yeah,
air, just do something social and be anywhere but their house. I can only imagine how nice it was to go and visit DuCard, and then like the positive impact that had on people probably made their not just their day but their week, their month, and that can have a really
yeah.
impactful ripple effect leaving there.
Yeah, I think it carries on now too, because I mean, the truth is, when we first started, we were just open on the weekends because it was sort of a weekend getaway thing. But now in the post-pandemic era, who knows where you are when you're not on a Zoom call. So you can go out in the countryside and have fun and go wine tasting and so forth, and it's opened up a lot of possibilities for people. And to have it be sustainable, I think, is certainly an added benefit for people. It makes them feel good about somebody who's doing something and using a lot of practices and methods and so forth that shows that they really care. And so that's certainly been a benefit for us. But I would have done it anyway. It's just kind of who I am, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I think people do appreciate just the fact that you're making that effort, doing those things. It always feels better when you buy a product or you go support a business that is at least making an effort and doing something to be sustainable. Obviously we got to support
Yeah.
businesses that aren't, but when you can,
Right.
um, it's always, a good thing. So appreciate you, obviously you don't have to do that. So we appreciate, that you do take that initiative.
Yeah.
Can you share a little bit about the vineyard itself in terms of like sizing and bottling and the grapes you produce?
Yeah. Yeah. Right. We farm 22 acres, which translates into about 3,000 cases of wine. And that's small even by Virginia standards. But the wineries that you would know through a grocery store or a wine shop or whatever, they would be in the 500,000 or 1,000,000 case or more typically. But we sell 99% right at our tasting room for people that come out for a getaway. Maybe they go hiking or just a bed and breakfast weekend or whatever. So we're very small, very micro from that standpoint. But there's some advantages actually of being small. There certainly are scale advantages for being big, but to be small, you can really focus your attention on individual blocks of wine. I mean, grapes. Almost everything is done by hand. There's some mechanization, but there's a lot of hand tending of the vines and looking at each one and trying to optimize it and harvest it at just the right time and adjust the factors that you're using in the winemaking to really bring out the best in the wines for that individual season and everything. So it's a size and scope that I feel comfortable with, and that I feel like results in us being able to do some really, really outstanding things with our little operation.
Yeah, that's amazing. And some things, you want quantity over quality, but sometimes when you're drinking wine, you want that quality over quantity, right? It sounds like you guys really have to, or have the ability to, focus on every single little grape and plan and
Yeah.
vine to make it that top quality. Every single bottle is as good as it can get. Do you have any
Yeah.
particular bottles or types of wine that you prefer?
Yeah, we use mostly French varieties, Bordeaux varieties, Cabernet Franc and Petit Verdot and Merlot. We grow Chardonnay and Viognier and a couple others as well. Matter of fact, just today we got awarded the number one Cabernet Franc in Virginia from a guy who does blind tastings for all of the East Coast. So that just sort of came out of the blue, and how cool is that?
Congratulations. That's amazing.
Every year you're trying to do the best you can, and it's subject to nature and how good a harvest you get and everything. So we love that. We're usually pretty kind of deep, dark, bold reds and aromatic whites when we can do them, and have a portfolio of wines for people to try when they come out. And there's no right or wrong. It's whatever people like.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. No, congratulations on that. That's exciting, especially to hear literally today. That's a nice way to kind of wrap up the week. We've got the best
Yeah,
Cabernet out there in the state.
Yeah.
Nice. So,
oh,
go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah. It was also interesting to me to look at your conference, and like you said, you never talked to anybody like me particular. What you have in your conference, it looks like, is fairly big businesses, guys in technology, and trying to really move the needle for society and everything. And all that's great. And then you compare that to me, who has just this little 22-acre operation. But I guess my point is that everybody could do something. Everybody's making a choice every day as to their waste stream and their use of the sun and solar, and how well they insulate the buildings, and just all kinds of different individual steps that you take that you can either be more green or less green. And in our case, we just kind of move the needle as far toward green as we possibly can. We're not going to solve any entire global problem that way, but I guess I feel like if anything, we're the poster child for everybody can do something, at least within their own scope.
Exactly. Couldn't have put it better myself. And that's so, just for everyone listening, if you're not familiar with our green summits, we bring together 12 kind of leaders in business, tech, finance, different industries, and they share kind of how they're making their businesses or their lives a little bit more sustainable. And what you mentioned is kind of the biggest takeaway from our last event. Again, Scott donated some bottles that we were able to drink, which was extremely nice. But the biggest takeaway that all of these people, kind of stated, whether they're CEOs or scientists of different varying businesses, is, the climate change and the environment. It's almost such a huge monumental problem that we face. It can be really daunting and kind of scary, and people want to give up, and you just hear it's getting worse and worse. But at the end of the day, it's exactly what you said. If we all make, those little changes in our lives, that does add up if every single person does it. So yeah, those little things of, how can I make my business a little bit more sustainable, or how can I, make my life a little bit more sustainable? The thing is, no one's perfect, right? Whether it's a vineyard or a media company or just in our day-to-day lives, no one's perfectly sustainable. We're not living out in the woods and, hunting our food and growing our own food. Most people, people who are listening to this podcast probably aren't. And that's fine. Like, that's just the society we live in. There's nothing wrong with that. But those little changes that you can control and make, if we each do it a little bit, it does add up. I mean, I'm sure the 20 years of running your vineyard, if you look back on all those sustainable changes that you made, it adds up to a lot, and so little things do add up, especially, if you've been running a vineyard for 20 years, or you start making little changes, now in 20 years down the line, it adds up. So we appreciate that a lot. So out of curiosity, what are your kind of plans for the future, not just in terms of sustainability, but in terms of yourself and the winery? Do you have any big plans you're kind of looking forward to?
Well, we're really not trying to grow too much. I mean, we're basically just trying to make the best wine we can each year. If you get too big, I think you lose the ability to keep that sort of local focus and individual attention and so forth. So we're going to continue to be boutique. I'm adding to the winery this year because we need more capacity, because people are drinking a fair amount at our place. Thank you.
That's
and
great.
we added another building last year for hospitality and people to hang out when we have music on the patio and that kind of thing. So I think overall we're on a path and probably pretty much keeping to it. I mean, the things that we've done that are green, we've done from the get-go, and just maybe a couple little examples. Solar is obvious, and how sweet it is in a vineyard operation, because you're using the sun to ripen your grapes. So if you can use that same sunlight to power your winery operation and power the air conditioning and the lights in your tasting room, then that's is a sweet synergy. A lot of people do that now, and makes a lot of sense. But some things you may not even think about. The weight of the bottles, for example. We use lightweight bottles, so there's less glass involved, and there's less trucking cost and diesel in taking them over the road to our place for bottling. We save, you can do the calculation on how much diesel cost and others is saved by using lightweight bottles. We also have eliminated plastics pretty much in the tasting room. We use what's called taterware, which is cutlery that's made out of potato starch, which is pretty cool. It's fully compostable. And our cups are made out of cornstarch. And so, do any of these things add up to anything big? No, but like you said, if you stitch them all together and you do them for 20 years, then you feel like you're at least doing the best you can.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I mean, in my opinion, one less plastic fork or plastic glass, or excuse me, plastic cup is one less thing in a landfill somewhere. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I think that's something,
Right.
hopefully more places pick up, more restaurants, more vineyards. So yeah, thank you for doing that. What's sort of your favorite thing about running this business? Is it getting to try the new wines? Is it just seeing something that you grew from your hands turn into, something someone can enjoy? Is it being out on the patio listening to live music? What do you sort of like take a second to breathe it all in?
Yeah.
This has really come a long way.
I'll answer A, B, and C, all those things. But ultimately, I think, because you struggle a lot in agriculture and you struggle with the weather, lots of bad things can happen to you. You have a lot of risks in the winemaking, all kinds of challenges and so forth. But when you've finally gotten to the end of a cycle and you're opening a bottle of wine that you made and sitting on the patio with it, that is awfully, awfully fulfilling. And that transcends really any cash flow or anything else, really.
I bet that's a good feeling. You're like, my work here is done. Now I get to enjoy the fruits of my labor, literally.
And
That's awesome.
then you drain that bottle and you're back out in the field to work in the next season.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Scott, I want to, one, thank you for joining us on the podcast today. Two, I want to thank you for your support, for donating the bottles to the Green Summit. I know everyone really enjoyed it. One last question, how can we support the winery? Can we visit your website to buy bottles? Thank you. And check it out. What's something that we can all kind of take away to support you?
Yeah, we didn't even plant that question ahead of time, but I appreciate you bringing it up. Yeah, a lot of people come to visit us. It's a beautiful part of the country. Shenandoah National Park in Central Virginia and the Charlottesville area has a lot to do with it. It's a big foodie area, winery area, etc. Great scenery, lots of American history, of course, with Monticello and Montpelier and so forth. So we like to see people come on site. But also you can order online through our website at DuCardVineyards.com. We ship to almost every state. And I think if you buy a handful of bottles, we cover the shipping for it too. So we love getting the word out and getting new customers and fans. And we'd appreciate hearing from anybody.
Yeah, well, there you go. You heard it here. If you're looking for your next vacation destination, you want to get some nature, some sun, drink a couple bottles of wine, listen to some live music, support a sustainable business, DuCard Vineyards is the way to go. Scott, thank you so much, seriously, for everything, for being here, for doing what you're doing, for supporting the Green Summit. We were talking before we hit record, and we're thinking maybe Washington, D.C. Green Summit's the next move. So hopefully we will see you there. We'll all be cheersing some nice glasses of wine. And until then, appreciate you being here.
Sounds like a win-win, and thank you for everything that you're doing and the initiative that you're taking to get this on people's personal radar.
Of course, I enjoy it. I get to talk to people like you. I get to learn a little bit about wine. It's Friday afternoon, so I think I know what I'm going to do after this. But Scott, again, thank you for being here. And then also everyone who tunes into the show, who watches, who supports the show, who visits, the Green Summits. I want to thank you sincerely. Our goal is just bring, fun, casual conversations from business leaders around the country, around the world, learn about what they're doing, maybe inspire you to, make some changes in your life, or just go out and enjoy it a little bit. Nothing wrong with throwing back a few glasses of wine. Life is short. But until then, thank you again. And we'll see you on the next episode of the Green Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning into the episode. My name is Dylan Welch. Appreciate it. As always, stay up to date with the latest information on green.org and dylanwelch.com. Dylan Welch Media is a full-service media and communications agency dedicated to promoting, marketing, and helping businesses in clean tech, renewable energy, and sustainability grow, get more clients, get more customers, get in front of their ideal clientele. If you have any more questions, feel free to reach out. If you're interested in joining the Green Summit, go to www.green-summit.org. Reserve your ticket today. There's very few spots left, so make sure you get on that ASAP. Thank you and have a great rest of your day.